Right, we're going to try one more time and see if a notification comes out. Otherwise, there's not going to be a stream. But yeah, I tried to stream just now. YouTube didn't send a notification to anybody because I think about 2 people came on, and then I only got 1 comment from each person, and that was it. So let's see if it sends out a notification this time. Otherwise, if in 5 minutes nobody else comes on. Right, that's a better sign. Yeah, there's people on this one. All right, good. So yeah, when I did the stream last time, I don't know if it was, I called it Buffalo Bill. Nobody came on to watch it. And I'm assuming it's because YouTube literally hid the notification from everybody. All of a sudden, there's 41 people on now, where before there was nobody on. Right, I'll turn the light off, and then you can see through this night vision. It's only Gen 1, so it's not going to be that amazing, but it's one Hype sent me that I'll be sending to him at some point. But it's some cool West German, sort of old, night vision goggles. I didn't get that comment, Mike. The only one I got from you was one that said looks like it. And I had one from somebody else that said, am I late or something like that? And that was it. That was the only things I got on it. So I think YouTube censored it. Right. If you want to see what this looks like, let's flick it on. It's quite hard to show this on the camera, though. I'm going to try and do a video of it tomorrow, but it's quite hard to show it on the camera because it's like a binocular style one, and it's there we go, it's turned on now. Yeah, I don't reckon you're going to see much through that at all on the webcam. Right, there's my head. But yeah, I don't think the webcam's going to focus on this night vision at all. Oh wait, you can see a little bit of me through that one, can't you? Hang on. So that's my eyes there. If it focuses again. Problem with this one as well is because obviously it's got the big strap sort of system for it. That gets in the way of the lens. Yeah, you can see me through that one a little bit, actually. Don't know if that makes it more or less blurry doing that. Probably a bit more blurry. That's probably the best focus for it. Let's just see if that particular eye focus I can get a bit better for the webcam. Doesn't surprise me if these Germans shot infrared into them to be dicks. But yeah. Right, let's see if I can get that to focus any better. It's probably going to focus best on that bit, isn't it? Yeah, I think the problem is it's just a bit too zoomed in for, yeah. It's a bit freaky, isn't it? But yeah. So there you go. That's the West German Gen 1 night vision unit. It's a pretty damn good Gen 1 night vision unit, but obviously might have been Agent Starling Richard that got it. All I wanted to do was tell them to put the lotion on the skin or they get the hose again. But apparently that was too much for YouTube. But yeah, these are very cool. Try and get a proper video done on these tomorrow to go on later in the week or like next week. But basically, he's the one just Hype bought for himself, and he was doing the thing of the regular, get them posted to me, let me do some videos of them, and then I'll post it to him. Yeah, that really doesn't surprise me. There's an interesting thing about World War II, right, where I'm just going to leave these to turn off for a minute because they're Gen 1s. They don't power down instantly, so I don't want to put the main light back on while they're powering down and, burn out anything in them. But there's an interesting story just about World War II, where the Germans had really expensive night vision. For the time, like the Vampire or whatever it is called. The Soviets would just use bright, really bright searchlights to just burn out their night vision. Yeah, my ulcerative colitis is quite a bit better today. It's still not back to normal, but it's better than what it was. In a minute or two, I'll put the lights back on. I'm just waiting for the night vision to power off. Because there's also this mask to show you all, wherever I put it down. I'll flick this side light on, because that's not going to be directly going into the night vision. Where did I put the Taiwan gas mask? Oh, there it is. There's also this one Marcus sent me to get a video done on, which is the Taiwanese military gas mask. for quite a while. What's the name of it? Is it T375? Is that its actual name? All right, Ultrix. Yeah, for all the people saying, do I feel any better today? Yes, I do, thanks. Still not. Well, yeah, because they're all M65 clones, like the Israeli M15s, the Romanian M85s. They're all literally M65 clones, but they're all better than the actual proper German M65s. They're made from better rubber as well. Yeah, I suppose North and South Korea aren't all that different from the West and East Germans, are they? Same country divided in half. One country's a communist puppet, the other's a capitalist puppet. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling better, Mike, because obviously last night I didn't sleep that well last night, but I did feel quite rested. You'd have to ask him, Altrix. But he's generally pretty good at finding certain things, but sometimes what he gets me to do is basically, if there's sellers that won't post directly to China, he gets them posted to me because he trusts me to post them to him, so we do that sort of thing. Right, I'll actually have to find all that out for you because I'm not completely sure, but it's a West German model. Ooh, something's just happened to the stream there. There's a serial number on it. It's a West German night vision model, but I don't actually know the exact name of it. It just came in a little satchel bag. But it's, yeah, just a very simple sort of binocular style night vision unit. So it's like a late Gen 1, so a very good Gen 1 unit, but not as good as a Gen 2. Yeah, if you're comparing this to similar units, it's a very good Gen 1, but not as good as any of the Russian Gen 2 units. So basically, although I've not had a chance to try it outside yet, from trying it in dark rooms, it's, a good Gen 1, a bit like the Pulsar. The optics are very good in them because, it might be Zeiss optics or whatever, but it's not, it's not going to be as good as a Gen 2 with a microchannel plate where you can see in essentially almost pitch black. This is just going to amplify any light you can see. What's your sort of budget off target survival? Because again, a bit like Geiger counters, night vision is where the budget sort of starts 100 quid at least, I'd say. If you've got £100, let's say, if you could get a second-hand Pulsar, that would be good. Or if you could get a brand new Night Fox, that would be good. But in general, you're going to have to go to like £300 to £500 for very good night vision. Because that's where you get like very good Gen 1s or early Gen 2s. Because night vision is basically what we class as Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, and you get like Gen 1 Plus and Gen 2 Plus. But basically, Gen 2 is way, way better than the Gen 1. Yeah, Ivan, I don't know where my Mini Monitor 510 is, because I've got one in one of the boxes somewhere. I don't use it anymore because it's inferior to the rate meters. But yeah, the Mini Monitor, if I can find it easily. Let's have a quick look. I'll put this where it's not going to fall over, in case it's at the top of one of these boxes. I'll flick the main light on now as well. It's probably quite buried somewhere, but basically, the Mini Monitor 510 I've got is, the same one Thermo Fisher essentially sells, like well over £1,000, but they're the exact same unit. They have the same range on them. Yeah, it was hot today, wasn't it, Richard? Because I had to go out today and didn't have a spare key to my dad's car, so I was just waiting outside his car for him to get back, and it was really hot. Yeah, Gen 1 is still good. It's just obviously Gen 2 and Gen 3 are better, and obviously military use the best stuff available if they've got the budget for it. Because I think a lot of militaries now are technically Gen 3 Plus, aren't they? But, yeah, like Gen 1 Plus is still good, and Gen 2 is very good, Yeah, right. If you want to save up off target survival and prepping, when you've got a few hundred quid to spare, there's a couple of really good models I can recommend you, depending on what's currently turning up on eBay. The one I've got I really, really like is the one I've done the videos on recently, the British Navy IM-101. Let me just get that out to show you. So I bought it from a guy on eBay that sort of sells a lot of night vision units. You know, he repairs them and sells them. Sort of that's an IM101, so it's not a goggle, but it's like a proper monocular that, you know, it can see in nearly pitch black, this one. I'd sell multiples of my Mars Mackenzie. It depends what I could get for them. If somebody offered me a good price for them, I'd sell them though. No problem. Hard to say, Ivan, just because there aren't that many Western ones on like what would be like the regular civilian market. There's lots of stuff for like, you know, military and police applications, but they obviously don't turn up to us unless they're secondhand on eBay. Because obviously, like, they have things like these, the little Sake dosimeters, for like armed police and military type use. I'm just trying to think if there's anything obvious. Say, probably, yeah, stuff like what's it, the Radii, the like you were saying, basically all the ones you mentioned. Well, in theory, John, it might be a good idea, but there's not many working examples of it. I think there's the ancient, like, Chinese magazine-fed crossbows, and there's some people who've done modern, you know, examples of them, but they don't apparently feed that well. Oh, it's very cool. You got one of those as a gift, so it's like one of the old, really good Starlight scopes. But yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. Sadly, OK9, I don't think there is, because basically every nation uses slightly different proprietary connectors. You know, sadly, despite NATO 40mm being a standardized sort of filter, there didn't seem to be a standardized sort of microphone sort of connector. If you've got a camelback that will attach to it, Andrew, it would be quite comfortable as long as it's in your size. I do like my M50. It's just the problem is the M50 is obviously for a civilian, you can't get the filters for it very easily. So the C50 would be a lot more, you know, appropriate. The one I just showed, the British IM101 scope that was made by Mullard originally. I've done some videos on it, but basically this is a really nice Gen 2 scope. But this is more like a spotting scope, you know, more like using a telescope. This isn't one that you'd have, you know, like on a helmet like you would with the small night visions. This is one for kind of surveying the sea or like fields at night. Any idea what mount it uses by default, Zach? Because basically, if you get a Rhino mount, you can just get adapters to a Rhino mount or from a Rhino mount. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it, Mike, with the modern ones, that you're paying for the magazine, not the crossbow, which is completely not worth it. No, the closest thing LWP Master I've got to a field radio is like a Chinese sort of commercial radio type thing, and I've never really used it much. Yeah, thanks, Soviet Gas Mask Collector. I'm a lot better today than I was yesterday. I quite like Flectarn for a lot of the British stuff, but I'd say MTP, Flectarn, or 95 DPM, depending on the time of the year. It really depends like what the vegetation is in the area you want to use it and the time of the year, because obviously in autumn you're going to want something with more red and browns in it rather than like green and essentially blacks. But so I bought this on Blu-ray the other day and it came today. If you've not seen it, you're missing out. I'm sure most of you know what Rocky Horror is, but I think a lot of people don't know there was a sequel to Rocky Horror. But Shock Treatment's quite good fun. Andrew, I imagine Avon's riot filters will be perfectly fine for most applications if you're not using them for poisonous gases. It's mostly to break up the shape a bit more radioactive cal, just so it's a stronger contrasting colour. Yeah, that's the thing, Daniel. Like you said, if you have like just green or brown clothing, that can sometimes work better. Yeah, if you like Rocky Horror, Mike, you definitely like Shock Treatment. The thing is, I think the reason a lot of people don't like Shock Treatment who've seen it is because they think it will be as good as Rocky Horror, which is, you know, kind of an impossible standard to meet because of how famous Rocky Horror is. But if you sort of want to watch it just based on it being most of the same actors in it, you know, for a very campy sort of weird film, I think you'd enjoy it. The songs, I think some of the songs in it are actually better than Rocky Horror, but it's a lot more 80s. You know, Rocky Horror is a lot more 70s. Out of all the ones I've got, my favourite Geiger counter is probably the radius scan. But when my IMD5 comes, I might actually like that the most. What, the old Prime Minister? I've got no interest in him if he's an old washed-up Prime Minister. Well, for the radius scan, Marcus, it's not my fault it's a good Geiger counter and they sent it to me for free. The thing is, if more modern companies did little Geiger counters with alpha, you know, probes on, they'd be really good. But sadly, I think it's just like literally the radius scan, isn't it? Some of the rad alerts, and is it the GMC 600? Barely anybody does modern Geiger counters with alpha probes on them. Yeah, Halloween 3 is a great film. Most unpractical Geiger counter, Ash, I would say the old British Mark I contamination meter, because it's like that big. It weighs about 5 kilos. It's like literally a massive metal box, and it only does something like 0 to 10 millirontgen. So basically, you've got a massive, heavy old Geiger counter that doesn't take any batteries you can still commercially buy today, and it will literally tell you if it's background radiation to maybe a tiny bit of radioactive contamination. Small Geiger counters, Radius Scan 701, GMC 500 running the GMC series, Therapies. What's the one I did the video on today that Ivan sent me? They're pretty good. Is that the Rad Alert? I'm trying to think of the name of it. No, the Atom Tag. Atom Tags are good as well. As I've said before, there'll be a Halloween special this year. I've just not thought of anything to do for it yet. I've got some Frisk and Hopfner, however they're pronounced, decimeter pens, but I don't have a Geiger counter. Yeah, it was the Atom Tag. I've seen Frisk and Hopfner Geiger counters for sale before, but sadly I've always been outbid on them. I'm not really into collecting uniforms other than camouflage. But GP5s probably have lead in the paint of the filter. I really don't know. Yeah, I think this is Frisk and Hopfner, if I can pull it out without something getting in the way of it. It's caught on something. Yeah, I think this is a Frisk and Hopfner decimeter set. Funnily enough, it says FAG on the actual decimeter charger. The thing was a bit stuck. It's coming out. Yeah. So you've got your FAG charger for it. Because the Germans an irony, I imagine. And I'm pretty sure these are Frieskopfner or whatever they're called. Oh, no, these are Automess ones. I do have a Frieskopfner one somewhere. These are Automess, these. But it's not going to show up very well on there, is it? Because of the brightness. Oh, that doesn't show up too badly, actually. It's probably because I've removed the plastic from the front of the webcam that shows up more now. Yeah, one of the films that inspired Mad Max, wasn't it, Justin Vapor? I've seen the cars that ate Paris with the spiky cars. And it's got the really tall bloke from Mad Max 2 in it as well, hasn't it? Can't think of his name off the top of my head, but yes, I have seen the cars that ate Paris. But yeah. If you're interested in weird old decimeter sets, these are pretty good. Although that really irks me what they've put there. If it focuses, hang on. I think it's Fries Hopner or something like that. Rich, but it's German, you know. But yeah, look at this horrible thing they've done here. If it focuses, which it's not going to do, 1 Rontgen equals 1 centigrade. No, it doesn't. 1 rad equals 1 centigrade, which is that video I still need to do, but I've not got around to yet because I keep getting sent things to do videos on. But yeah, as Dan says, if you're buying something that's in a different currency, most of the time you'll just get charged a conversion fee that's normally like £1, if that, for like a £50 to £100 thing. Yeah, it's all right, Marcus. It's just, you know, when I get sent free stuff, I obviously prioritize that. So when people keep saying, can you do a video on this? Can you do a video on that? It's like, wow, I'll get round to it eventually. I think people would be interested in mine, and it's just seeing how many people, does that make sense, would be interested? Because I think you get the nerdy sort of people like me that do find scintillators and Geiger counters and all that really interesting, and then most people would not give a shit whatsoever. So it would be to target the people that would find them interesting if they're at a good price, that would definitely want to buy them. I suppose I could always do another video on the M17, but I'm not sort of going to rush out to do it because I've already done several M17 videos. Peyton, do you mean an actual hazmat suit or just being an NBC suit? Because they're not the same thing necessarily. The only thing I can recommend to you, Gabriel, is eBay, just because eBay is where you'll find lots of Geiger counters quite easily. What's that weird rattling noise coming from this? Doesn't sound right. Yeah, well, it would certainly be a lot more professional than GMC 300 because they don't have very good range on them. Oh, wait, it's just the spring. That's all right. Yeah, it's just this has fallen off the connector cap. It's going to be a pain in the ass to get that back in. But yeah, that's all that noise was. That's fine. You basically can't OK9 if you've not got another check source for another Geiger counter. Because calibration literally depends on you knowing, you know, something to calibrate it to. You'd have to find something that would give a set amount of like radiation or, you know, like interference to work it, but you're basically not going to be able to do that without having a proper thing. So yeah, this German hinge is broken. Thanks, Adolf. Can I just shove that in? Should tell you what, if I take the screws out and just pop them in loose, then that will at least close up. The MP5 strap system is very easy. Adjust it to fit you, and then you pull the 2 bottom straps over the little hooks. Yeah, the Halloween special won't be out to Halloween, so don't ask about it right now. I don't think, yeah, as Marcus was saying, you'd want night vision goggles for sort of like a riot situation. They're not designed for that at all. They're designed for like you not being spotted in the woods before somebody else spots you, kind of thing. I don't want this one to close anymore. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, but yeah, as cool a looking box as this is, it's not very practical for actually resealing. Germans. Oh, you got an S10, that's good. It's not light outside at the moment, no. It's dark because it's, yeah, 9:30, 20 to 10 sort of time. Can you get something similar to the ECBA that the US used? Because surely the US would have had a light body armor system like the ECBA. I don't know. Ask David Icke, Peyton. David Icke might know, but he'd say she's a lizard, not a robot. I think there was a thing on LBC the other day about David Icke. Or maybe a robo-lizard. Not many Atom Cat. A couple of them would have done, but for the most part, they just bought them from different countries. Not that I saw, Daniel. I didn't see any sort of dosimeters on their clothing. Obviously, if they had an internal pocket, you wouldn't see them. But for the most part, they just seem to have, like guns and tasers and stuff. Not actual, radiation equipment. But I know stuff like this was used by the Civil Nuclear Constabulary for ages. These sort of little pressing the wrong button. There we go. Put the light on it. The sort of just little pager style dosimeters were the sort of ones that became popular. This is a SAIC PD2I dosimeter. It's basically just designed to give you an idea of what gamma dose you're receiving. But these were used, they sort of got surplus because the MOD and quite a few other places used them a bit like these MGPs for quite a while. They were designed so they just go basically in your pocket if you worked at a nuclear power plant or something like that, so you could check your dose. Yeah, that's a good point, Mike. I know he said to me before about dosimeters, but that'd be back in the day. Obviously, they change those things quite regularly, I think. I still want to say to Glow in the Dark that, the sort of people he did the job for question me. Well, I sent one for free. Have a look on the retail page of where you're buying it from and see what they say about the guarantee. Because I know sometimes the retailer has a different guarantee on it to what the manufacturer says. Yeah, I don't see, Richard, how anybody would believe that. Like, if there were people saying, "Oh, I don't trust rich people," all this blah blah blah, I totally get that. But it's when they say they're like lizards that shapeshift into people, you think, who would believe that? Yeah, the furnace is all right. Doubt you would, Daniel. They'd probably just tell you to suck it up and get back to work. Yeah. It would be quite easy, believe me, if you could overload your dosimeter, that people would do it. Yeah, okay, no, I'm saying I don't think they'd be practical at all for that. eBay, as we've said many times, all this stuff normally comes from eBay or similar sort of things. We're on about David Icke, not David Attenborough. They're creepy looking, James. How practical they were, I have no idea. I've done a few videos on that sort of subject, AK, but bear in mind a mask's not really going to protect you from carbon monoxide. You're going to basically need a rebreather or an air tank set up for that. But a charcoal and particulate filter is going to block some of the shit that will get in your lungs. Yeah, you'd struggle to get a brand new S10 because they've not made any new ones since about 2010 or whenever it was. upload the videos to your channel and see if I manage to watch them. Yeah, it literally looked, didn't it, on some of the videos, Philip, like it was like nighttime during the day with like a weird orange glow. Did you see the thing of Trump where he was going around there and he's like, oh, it's going to cool down soon? Are they actually new produced S10s, though, Marcus, or is it just ones that are being recently surplused? No, we've got Hurt Locker on DVD, but I've never got around to watching it. Water pretty much lasts forever if it's sealed properly. What does the dosimeter say? That's fine. Okay, so they were like end of production run S10s, I guess, that were then sold to China or Hong Kong or whatever. Oh, so it was a Scott A1, was it, the one you were looking at? What's that about, windmill mic? Oh, was this David Icke? What's he saying? Like the wheat windmills or like the wind farm kind of wind power windmills? Is he saying that the sound gives you cancer? But yeah, some of those crazy conspiracy theorists come up with some weird shit, don't they? Oh, I didn't even hear him say that, Mike. But so the windmills, they give you cancer, not good. We need to burn the coal. There's lots of weird cults, aren't there, Rich, where everybody in them turned out to be sex offenders. That's probably the sort of basic thing for a cult, I imagine. All right, Rajiv, how are you? For airsoft, I don't know if I'd recommend night vision because I imagine they break pretty easily. Also, if somebody has a bright light or like an IR laser, it'll burn out your night vision, and then that's like hundreds of pounds down the drain. But if you were going to get night vision for airsoft, probably just something basic like a pulsar. Yeah, Philip, as said, I'm going to be doing more videos testing it with various things, but I think it's going to hold up pretty well, in all honesty, at anything I can throw against it. What do you mean the worst dose of radiation? The highest dose? Thousands of roentgens? I don't know. It completely depends what you're exposed to. No, they don't do that at all, X-Knife and Guts. Basically, night vision is only going to make something as bright as like a PC screen would be if you had a pure white like image on it. It's kind of like a media thing. If there's a bright light, it burns the person's eyes wearing the night vision. Because in reality, a night vision is just literally something that amplifies light. And, it can only make it as bright as a white pixel will go on a screen anyway. No, I've got like 1980s Soviet gear, but I don't have anything from Afghanistan. That's interesting. The thing is, I think it'd be all right if everybody there, like, rule-wise, couldn't use like IR lasers and that. But if you just went to a regular site, I'm pretty sure your goggles are going to get burned out pretty quickly. You can't cure radiation. If you get radiation sickness, you're dead. This isn't like a film or a game. If you're exposed to deadly levels of radiation, you're dead. Yeah, you'll be begging for the bullet, exactly. There's no Radaway in real life, I'm afraid. Once you're irradiated, you're irradiated. Iodine prevents you from getting radiation into the thyroid. It doesn't cure radiation poisoning. Phlectana, oestium, and strychnine when I've done it normally. Basically, what iodine does, stable iodine, is it blocks the thyroid in your neck from absorbing iodine 131, which is a radionuclide. That's all it does. You'd have to know in advance to take it, and it only stops iodine 131 from being absorbed. It's not going to do anything against cesium, cobalt, strontium, any of those. No, I'm certainly not a prepper at all. I collect this stuff because I find it interesting. All right, Stug. I won't be on too much longer tonight because I was on longer than I expected last night, and at the moment there's been some quite strange comments, so I sort of just want to go off. I might. Is there an audio commentary for shock treatment? Let's have a look. Isolated music and effects track, optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard hearing. Brand new audio commentary with actress Patricia Quinn and Nell Campbell. Oh, I'll listen to the probably audio commentary of this tonight. My falchion's probably my favourite melee weapon, or maybe the cutlass. Have you seen Rocky Horror, Philip? If you've seen Rocky Horror, think a bit like Rocky Horror. If you've not seen Rocky Horror, I don't really know how to describe lots of cross-dressing and weird stuff. Yeah, if you like Rocky Horror, you'd like Shock Treatment because it was all the same people involved in it. Yeah, that's the thing, Mike. I find they're quite good if you're interested in how films are made or just some of like the context behind the film. They're often quite good. Depends what the apocalypse situation was, because obviously if it's a thermonuclear war, you'd die. If it's just some people rioting, you could probably hold up all right. Yeah, it's night time here. There's the clock. That's PM, by the way. So what's that say at the moment? 0921? That's sorry, 0951, yeah. I don't know what names of the American knives were in Vietnam. What, are you on about some sort of commando knife or something like the K-bar style knives? What, bayonets? For my videos, Puffin Guy, I've done a video on it, but it's a, it's not a Casio, is it? Hang on. It's a Canon. Canon Leger or something or other. I know, because somebody said your clock's off by a minute yesterday. What you on about? Oh, like guns or swords or what? Which particular one, Kevin? The ECBA is meant to be level 3 with the plates, or level 2 to 3A, depending on which generation of Kevlar filler it was. But basically, the ceramic plates are meant to be level 3. The fillers are either level 2 or level 3A, depending on which, period the fillers were made. The more modern ones are 3A, the older ones are level 2, depending if it's like the 1990s or the 2000s sort of era one. If it's the physical Kevlar bit, it will be either level 2 or level 3A. as in it will stop most pistol rounds and a bit of shrapnel. It's the actual plates that stop the rifle rounds and the really high velocity shrapnel. Yeah, there's the one I think Mike said was good, Rajiv, was one of the things with Bruce Campbell in like one of the Evil Dead things. Was it arguing with Sam Raimi or something? Yeah, at the moment, because obviously all the football's on at the moment, but you can't physically go to watch the games. My parents want to stream it at the moment, like, and it's normally like 7 to 9 p.m. sort of time, so I can't stream at the same time our internet will fuck up. All right, see you, okay, man. Yeah, that's the thing that's a bit annoying, Mike, is when you end up getting the Blu-rays, but they're not like the really good releases that don't have the special features on. Because some of the Blu-rays I've got are a bit like that. Like they're still obviously officially licensed, but they're the ones where they basically just stick the film on it and maybe like one or two special features. That's the thing I like with like Arrow and all the companies that do the really good remasters. You know, if you look at how many special features are on there, there's loads. Which is what I like about their things. That it's they obviously put a lot of effort into all the special features. I'm not going to answer any questions that might be, let's say, legally questionable if it ever got brought up again, which should be an obvious thing. It's like in America, you wouldn't ask somebody, where do you store your gun and how many times would you shoot a home invader, would you? Because it's a bit of a dodgy thing to ask. Yeah, I'm trying to think, Rajiv. Arrow do very good ones. Is there 69 films or something like that? It's called that do really good remasters. There's a few companies that do the really good. Shout Factory and Scream Factory both do really good like remasters and like special features thing. Right, the Pretzel Man, don't mention the war. Yeah, although if you won the lottery, Mike, first thing would you do would be get like somewhere to live. Because that'd be the first thing I'd do if I won the lottery is think, right, I'll get a nice place to live in and that'll be it. Then anything else is what I do with the bonus money. No, because you weren't the person, Vivalry man, that was asking me like what I would use to kill somebody. Ah, Kevin, you're thinking of the one before the ECBA. You're just thinking of the CBA, aren't you? Combat body armor. That will be probably level 2 Kevlar, because the ECBAs that replaced it were the ones that had the plate sections in them. And the ECBAs later were retrofitted with 3A. So that's probably just Kevlar level 2. Right, see off target survival. Let me have a look. If it's just a surplus, like, do you mean to say only army, Gabriel, rather than only army? Let's just Google only army, because I assume that's what you meant to say. Only army surplus. I mean, they've got lots of 1-star reviews. That's probably not a good sign. But have I bought from them before? Let's have a look. I mean, the couple of steel helmets they've got are sensible prices. They've got what's not a Soviet gas mask advertised as a Soviet gas mask for £10, so it's still not a bad price. The prices on here don't seem silly, in all honesty. So I'm not going to bother looking up now why they've got bad reviews. I don't know if it's somebody saying this should have been a different price or it wasn't the right size sent. Right, let me have a quick look, Kevin, for you. But I'm assuming it's going to be a CBA or ECBA. Let's have a look. Right, there's several different things coming up with that exact description. There's like the pre-Osprey vests, like the Kestrels, and there's ECBAs and CBAs coming up. So yeah, it really depends on what the vest is. But if you search ECBA and then it looks like that, just with 2 pockets, then it's a CBA, as in combat body armor. ECBA is enhanced combat body armor, basically just because they added the plates to it. On Sportsman's Guide, hang on. All right, let me have a look on Sportsman Guide and then I'll finish the stream. And I was searching for British military surplus. Is it the surplus plate vest DPM camo like new? Is it that one? If so, I don't know, it's vest with plates used. Oh yeah, right. The one that you're looking at there is the CBA. I'd get an ECBA because it has the better plate system. There's loads and loads of different sizes of plates. Basically, it depends what sort of body armor they're in. Heavy body armor has like full chest size plates. Light body armor has small plates that are just designed to cover the heart. Yeah, I'll just quickly hold it up for you so you know what I'm on about when I say this is the vest I would recommend. You can get them in Woodland Desert or MTP camo, so don't worry too much about the camo. The important bit is the pocket layout and the plates. So basically, if you're buying British body armor of the light type, get these ECBAs because they have the one big ceramic plate covering the heart on one side of your lungs. The CBAs are the ones that don't have the plates in, they just have the Kevlar filler. So yeah, if you're getting a British vest, get an ECBA, not a CBA. The plates are certainly stab proof. If you wanted the main vest to be stab proof, you'd have to put a custom Kevlar filler in it, because the actual British Army ones are just designed to be shrapnel proof, not stab proof. Right, again, it depends what you want to cover, but you're going to want a plate that's probably at least that sort of size. I would say if you're going to make a plate, do it this sort of size. Whether this is 40 by 40 centimeters, whatever it is. But you're not going to want something much smaller than that if you want something to cover most of your vitals, because obviously if you have a really small plate, if something hits you where the plate isn't there, it's not going to help you, is it? I suppose because a lot of it's just surplus, isn't it, Kevin? But yeah, as I said, the one you want to look for is ECBA, Enhanced Combat Body Armor. And that's the one that has a ceramic plate in the front, a ceramic plate in the back, and Kevlar filler. It's like a Pasket vest, basically, with ceramic plates in it. But yeah, I'd say, 'cause obviously there's things like Osprey vests and all of those, but the ECBA is the one that's been in service for years just because it's quite practical. It's not too heavy, you know, it covers your vital organs and that's about it. But yeah, the problem is with some of the bigger vests, obviously, is the weight goes up massively when you've got a ceramic plate that covers every single bit of your front and back rather than just covering like your heart and lungs. Because obviously, if you think about it, if you had a ceramic plate this big compared to a ceramic plate like that big, the weight's going to go up massively. Yeah, that's the thing, Truck Campbell. You could always put a lighter plate in that, couldn't you, if you wanted to retrofit it? But yeah, the OLV is similar to things like the Osprey vest, where they've got the massive sort of Kevlar filler sections to completely cover all of you for like shrapnel and like your neck and everything. And then you've obviously got the plates that you can put inside them for like ballistic protection. But I prefer lighter vest just because if you're running around in it, you do not want a vest that weighs like 15 kilos on. Right, see everybody who's off. I'm going to go off now anyway. Watch videos you group where Americans shoot them and then come up to your own sort of thing. But against pistol rounds, one this size would probably be fine. Against rifle rounds, you'd probably want one twice as thick, but it's really hard to say because there's lots of videos where some of the same supposedly plastic plate stop rounds and others don't. So yeah, I'd say if you're buying HDPE plastics or whatever, just make sure you get one that's decently thick. Truck Campbell, please watch the videos on them before you say stuff like that. You'd be very surprised if you actually watch the videos. There's a video where somebody's shooting one that's barely thicker than that piece of plastic, and it's stopping 7.62 NATO for about 4 rounds before the 5th round goes through. But yeah, it's stronger than steel, that stuff. Yeah, it depends on, is it an armor-piercing round? You know, how long is the barrel? There's lots of factors, isn't there? But the point is that don't immediately say, oh, that can't stop this, that can't stop that. Right, I'll be off. See you all. I won't be on tomorrow. That's definite. I won't be on tomorrow. I'll probably be on Thursday and that in the evening, but I won't be on tomorrow. Right, see you all. Goodbye. Good evening. Auf Wiedersehen. Farewell.